So if creatine is so good for you and it's naturally occurring in food, why can't you just eat creatine-rich foods in order to hit your daily goals? That's the problem. See, the idea is not wrong, but it leaves out the part that actually matters. How much creatine is actually in those foods? Because once you look at the doses used in real research, the argument starts to fall apart. So in this video, we're going to look at what creatine actually does, how much creatine studies actually use, how much food that would require, and why basically every serious creatine study uses supplements rather than diet. So creatine is something your body already uses. It's stored mostly in your muscles and helps your body recycle ATP, which is basically the energy your cells run on. That's why creatine shows up in research on strength and power, recovery, and more recently, brain function and aging. Your body makes around 1 to 2 grams per day, stores most of it in the muscles, and gets some from animal foods. But the key point is that diet alone doesn't raise creatine levels very much. For a long time, the standard dose of creatine has been 3 to 5 grams per day. That's the dose behind decades of strength and performance research, but the newer research doesn't really stop there. More recent studies are using 8 to 10 grams a day. It's often based on body weight, and those studies aren't about hitting your gym PRs. They're looking at cognition, fatigue resistance, aging, and neurological health. Now, it's important to note that this doesn't mean that 5 grams is useless. It just means that research has moved beyond the bare minimum. If you only want the muscular benefits for recovery and strength and performance, you can stop there. So how much creatine is actually in food? To get around 5 grams of creatine, you're looking at around 7 pounds of chicken, 3 pounds of beef, 2 pounds of cod, or about 25 liters of milk. And that's before the cooking, which lowers the creatine levels even more. So trying to get that much from your diet alone in a day would mean huge portions, tons of extra calories, a lot of money, and probably feeling pretty terrible. That's why research doesn't use food creatine. Athletes never rely on food creatine alone, and why creatine supplements exist at all. If food worked, the supplements really just wouldn't be a thing. Another thing that confuses people is that creatine monohydrate isn't 100% creatine. It's about 88% creatine by weight. So 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, which is one of the most common supplement forms of creatine, equals about 4.4 grams of actual creatine. 10 grams of monohydrate would equal around 8.8 grams of actual creatine. That's why the food comparison gets really messy if you don't even account for that. So in research, we use supplemented creatine because we can control the dose. It doesn't require insane calorie intake, and it lets people study the actual real effects, not really theoretical ones. It's not really a natural versus synthetic debate, it's a logistics one. Creatine is one of the most studied supplements on the planet. In healthy adults, long-term studies show no kidney damage. Doses up to 10 grams per day are commonly used. Higher doses are usually split for comfort, and if you do have kidney disease, you should talk to a professional. Otherwise, this isn't the scary supplement that people think it is. Here's the bottom line. Yes, creatine is in food, but modern research is built around specific intake targets that food just can't hit without going to extremes. Creatine supplementation exists because the dose matters, food sources are inefficient, and research needs precision. If you've been on the fence about supplementing with creatine, give it a shot. It's one of the few supplements I believe that you can noticeably feel the difference when you take very quickly, and more importantly, when you aren't taking it, you feel your performance dip. Not just physically, on a muscular level, on a recovery level, on a fitness and strength level, but it massively affects cognitive performance. So if you have a job that expects high performance, or even if you're just a parent and you expect high performance from yourself, more focus and patience, you should probably give creatine a try. I personally believe that every healthy adult should be taking at least 10 grams of creatine a day. But don't trust me, look at the research for yourself. There's a link in the description of this video that'll take you to more articles with sources and all the information you could ever need on creatine.